Week 14 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I look to drop this week, and it's a lot of closers or former closers on this list. The first guy, Joe Barlow of the Texas Rangers. So Barlow, he was having a pretty good season for this Ranger team and fantasy owners, but a couple bad outings in a row. Barlow, he got dropped out of that closer role, and Brett Martin, the new closer over there for Texas. On the season here, for Barlow, 29 in the third, 3-1 record, 13 saves, 21 hits, 10 earned runs, 8 walks, 22 Ks, but 4 blown saves, but still only a 3.07 ERA and an 0.99 whip. But Barlow, over the last few weeks, it hasn't been good for him. 4 innings pitched, 5 hits in the time, 2 earned runs, a K, and 2 blown saves. So right here, Rangers had enough of him at the closer position, and they pulled him. So he hasn't gotten a save as Barlow, going back all the way towards the end of June. So right now, he's going to have no fantasy value, obviously, not being a closer over there in Texas. It's not like his ERA is under a 1 or something where he'll help you in those categories. And he's a guy to drop, but I don't think Texas would go totally away from him. Maybe right now, he's just going to not be the closer for a few weeks here. Once he gets a few outings under his belt once again, where they're clean and he looks good as Barlow, they put him back into the closer position. Because Brett Martin, obviously, he don't have much experience as a closer throughout his career. But right now, there's no reason to hold on to Barlow. And he's been dropped in 8% of fantasy leagues over the last week here, but still owned in 57% of leagues. So right now, for this week, I would drop him. The next guy I look to drop Kyle Hendricks of the Chicago Cubs to the Cubs here. It's been a tough season for Chicago. And Kyle Hendricks, he's had an up and down type of year as well. 84 in the third, 4-6 record, 85 hits, 45 earned runs, 24 walks, 66 Ks, and 4 quality starts with a 4.80 ERA and a 1.29 whip. So right there, the last few weeks he was pitching a little bit better, but now he's on the shelf here with a shoulder injury, and he's going to be out a while, probably mid-August to September. And it's not like he was pitching amazing baseball where I would stash him on my injured list here as Kyle Hendricks. So right now, I think he's an easy pitcher to drop. He's been dropped in a lot of fantasy leagues over the last week and a half here, Hendricks. And like I mentioned, it's not like he was a top pitcher this season. He was a must-hold while he's on the injury list, even though the last few outings he's looked good. June 24th at the Cardinals, 7 in the third, got the win. 5 hits, no runs, a walk, 6 Ks, a quality start. June 30th versus the Reds, 6 innings, got the win. 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 7 Ks, a quality start. And July 5th at Milwaukee, 3 innings in that one, no decision. 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. So right now, he's going to be out of wire, like I mentioned, is Hendricks. And he's a no-brainer drop, I think, this week here for fantasy owners. Yeah, he could come back August, September, and maybe help you down the stretch. But right now, he's going to be out at least 4 to 6 weeks, I believe, with the shoulder injury. And the Cubs aren't going to rush him back either, where they're a team that's obviously out of playoff contention, even though there's 75 games still left in the season. But right now, I would drop Hendricks. The next guy, Centalion of the New York Yankees. Centalion, he's been a major surprise this season, and he's a guy that's been healthy this season as well. But over the last few weeks here, things are starting to go the other way for him, and maybe he's fatiguing out, or the American League is caught up to him. 94 in the third on the season, a nice record, 9-2, 99 hits, 42 earned runs, 12 walks, 77 Ks, 4 quality starts, a 4.01 ERA, and a 1.18 whip. But over the last few weeks here, an 8.22 ERA, and a 1.5 whip in the last 2 weeks here for Talion. So like I mentioned, Talion was pitching great baseball, but he was always a guy not going deep into games, and now teams have been hitting him hard over the last few outings. June 29th versus Oakland, 5 innings, got the win, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks in that one. July 5th at the Pirates, his former team, 5 in the third, got the loss. They hit him pretty good, 6 hits, 5 runs, 5 Ks in that one. And then July 10th at Boston, he got ripped up, 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs, a walk, 3 Ks. So they had a 6-3 lead in that game, and the Yankees blew it and lost here. And Talion right now, like I mentioned, maybe he's hitting the wall. The league is caught up to him a little bit. And he's a guy not really being that much of a fantasy factor. I know his record's great, 9-2 on the season, but he don't go deep into games. His last quality start, we're going all the way back to June 2nd here, and he's just not getting the job done right now. Still owned in 75% of fantasy leagues, but he has been dropped in 4% of leagues here. But he's a guy right now I just wouldn't trust on my roster, and a guy who's not going deep. He's not getting the quality starts. His strikeouts ain't all that great with 77 in 98 innings. Contact he's given up now, starting to find the holes and find the crowd getting hit over the fence. So right now, while he's slumping and not doing much here, I would drop Centalion. And yeah, he could get things going once again and be back on the fantasy radar. But right now, he's a pitcher I would drop. The next guy is his teammate, Aroldis Chapman of the New York Yankees. So Chapman, big contract a couple seasons ago here from the Yankees. And he just hasn't gotten the job done on the season. 17 innings, 0-3 record, 9 saves, 14 hits, 9 runs, 15 walks, 18 strikeouts, a 4.76 ERA, and a 1.71 whip. So recently he came off the injured list here, is Aroldis Chapman, and he's obviously not being the closer for this Yankee team here. So he's going to have no value if he's not going to be the closer. And that ERA is almost a 5 as well, and he got the loss in July 10th at the Red Sox, giving up a hit and a run. So right now the Yankees, they've went in a different direction at the closer position, even though they don't even care that Chapman signed this huge contract this season. The Yankees, they've went a different direction here. What's going on? Clay Holmes on the season, who's having a great season with 16 saves on the year, and a guy pretty much unhittable. So right now, there's no need for Aroldis Chapman to be on your fantasy roster, with Clay Holmes holding it down for the Yankees with an ERA under a 1 here at an 0.46. And Chapman right now, he's a great arm, but maybe his best days are behind him. And he's a reliever I would drop this week. In the 5th and final pitcher I would drop this week's another reliever. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, a lot of guys on this list have been relievers, and it's time to part with them. Is Will Smith of the Atlanta Braves. So Smith here, it's been like a closer by committee. 1 week it was Will Smith, then it was AJ Minter, and now Smith out of the closer role once again here. And Kenley Jansen, he's been pitching pregame, warming up and stuff, and training. So I think Jensen's going to come back sooner than later. He's been getting activity going on the field here. I doubt he's really going to need a rehab assignment for a closer and a guy who's only been out a few weeks here. So right now, Will Smith and Minter pretty much aren't going to have fantasy value. But over the last few outings, Will Smith's come in non-save situations on the season. Great numbers, though. 34 innings, 0-1 record, 5 saves, 29 hits, 12 runs, 18 walks, 38 Ks, and 3 blown saves, but a 3.18 ERA and a 1.38 whip here. So like I mentioned, Will Smith's not been the closer. His last save was 4th of July last week, and the last couple save opportunities have gone to AJ Minter. And with Kenley Jansen's return just around the corner, there's no need here to either have any of these guys, because in a week or two, or even less, I think we could see Kenley Jansen back as this Braves close, and he was having a great season in his first season as the Atlanta Brave close, and there's even reports Wednesday he could come back here. So right now, that's a few pitchers I look to drop here for Week 14 of the fantasy baseball season.